Welcome to the ArcFluence Podcast, where we talk about how design impacts the way we live, work, and invest. I'm Nick Karakaian, your host, and today we have an exciting episode. With me, my business partners and co-hosts, Paul Fatkins, Nino Samardzic. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. How are you, Nick?
Yeah, not too bad.
Great. Paul, what do we got going on today?
So this is basically father's friend. Oh my gosh, it's hard to say.
It's okay.
It's yeah. So my best friend Mike, his father, is on the podcast today. He's an architect working for Soul Harris Day Architecture in Canton, Ohio. I've known him all my life. But yeah, it'll be hard for me because I always call him Mr. Griffith. So I'll do my best to call him Bill on the episode today. But that's our guest today.
Welcome to the show, Bill. How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good.
We are very excited to hear about your story. Nino and I and Paul have known you and your son for...
Well, I've known them all my life, pretty much. So I think, it was the second grade, something like that. Yeah, it's been a long, long time since I've known.
And don't let that baby face fool you. Paul's an old man at this point.
That baby face fool you.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm going to struggle because I think I'm going to try to keep calling you Mr. Griffith. That's like what I grew up, calling him. So I'll try my best to call you Bill on the podcast here. But Bill, do you want to just talk a little bit about some of your background and just introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay. Went to, I guess, an architectural background. I went to Kent State. I graduated in 1975, long before any of you were born.
Yeah, but you still did the Florence program, right?
It was a 5-year program at the time, but it was a Bachelor of Architecture with a 5-year program.
Wow.
As opposed to, just a Bachelor of whatever science now, and then 2 years for your architecture degree. So I got a bachelor, and then Cincinnati had a similar program, but theirs was a 6-year program with co-op sessions in between, and they were able to get a Bachelor of Architecture after 6 years. Mm-hmm. Ken was 5. We were on quarters back then. We started out Taylor Hall.
Don't mention Taylor Hall. We were in Taylor Hall too at first.
For what, a year or 2?
2 years,
yeah.
And then they bounced us around to a couple of different, to the annex. They had like a different studio there, and then we had Tri-Towers studio.
That was the worst.
Yeah, and then finally, right when we left, Mr. Griffith, they built the new building. So I mean, we had a similar, we got Taylor Hall experience too.
Yeah,
so
I have moving anxiety from those years.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have an elevator. You guys were lucky.
Yeah. Carrying all this stuff, models and
we
stuff.
had no elevator.
That'll make cigarette breaks really tough.
And the stone tablets that we were writing on were really heavy.
Oh, come on.
You gotta carry that stuff.
We did an episode a couple of weeks ago or last week where we were talking about tools and techniques, and we were talking about some of like the early day tools. But you're not on stone tablets. Come on, give yourself a break. Not that bad.
Well, we had papyrus paper.
Yeah.
No, we started out on T-squares. And vellum with pencils, and eventually got to pen and ink on Mylar. By the time I graduated, that was a huge change. But it was a different program back then. It was still really difficult. We had very few women. I think there were 2 women in my class.
Jeez.
And there were 3, and only 2 of them completed. One of them completed the course, all 5 years.
Yeah, dropout rates were probably high. They were
decent when we were there too.
About a third ended up dropping out.
Something like that overall. Yeah, but the women to male ratio for us was closer to 50-50.
Yeah, that changed now. You can even see in the firms today, in a business environment.
Yeah,
it's close to 50-50.
Yeah, and you guys still went to Florence too, right, right, Bill?
Yeah, we went to Florence in our 4th year. We only got a quarter. You guys got a whole semester, so.
I got 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Nick went back for graduate school. Yeah, he got 2. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't want to work.
Made some great friends. We're still in contact with my friends from all over the country, different parts of the country. Some are working, some still aren't, or are retired now. But it was a totally different experience than what's there now.
Yeah.
So we had like 4 structures classes. I don't know if you remember structures.
Yeah,
but,
I tried to forget it because
I have forgotten it.
Some nightmares.
Yeah, I don't think they're even teaching wood and masonry anymore.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we went over wood masonry, concrete, steel. Like we went through all the different categories.
I was going to the wood masonry and concrete.
Yeah. So they still taught us that. I don't know if they're still teaching it to students now. So I know they've rolled it back some.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I'm really curious about your journey in becoming a leader in the firm that you're in. Obviously, you didn't start off owning your own architecture firm. Yeah. And I'm curious to hear about your journey, how long it took you, what was your mindset behind that, and what were some of the challenges you faced in building an architectural firm?
Yeah, and you also went through all these like different times, like through the economies, ups and downs, and just like tell us a little bit story about that, how you also from your professional level, how you actually develop and what actually triggered it to you to decide to start your own start your own company.
Yeah,
you probably started like right out of the school, started working for someone else, and what was that like a point?
I think it's the same firm you've been with the whole time, right? It's kind of like you had other partners as well at the firm.
Yeah. No, I started out one year with Lawrence Dykes, Gutenberger, Bauer, and Clancy in Canton. I worked for a year with them. Then after a year, it was back then firms would hire, entry-level people for a big job, and when the big job was over, they sent them packing, and then they found another firm that was looking for some, kind of drafting help, and then you'd move on to there. But
so good
after
today.
I left,
yeah.
So pretty much it wasn't like a secure employment. So it was
with John Harris, and I have been there. In April, will be 49 years.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. Yeah.
And
I can't count that high.
Yeah. So I started out there. I was just basically doing the drafting there. Now, like you say, there were times when there were ups and downs. The economy took some back in the late 70s. There was a huge downturn. I was fortunate, and instead of getting laid off, we went down to 32-hour work weeks.
Wow.
And
so that was like a big crisis, like the big
oil
crisis.
Yes.
Late 70s.
I mean, there was moratorium on gas. You couldn't get gas service, a new gas service. Everything had to be all the heating systems had to go in all electric.
Wow.
There was some different times back then. So we got through that, and there were other ups and downs where we didn't have so much work, and then there were other times when it was if you didn't work 50 hours a week, you were way behind. So it's just
sounds like architecture. Yeah.
We have been totally fortunate with the firm that we've got now. We have not had a downturn now in probably 25 years.
Whoa,
when everybody else was going through, even in COVID, we didn't have a downturn.
That's good.
We just have built a reputation that we just have. We have so many repeat clients, and that's how you build a firm.
That's how.
Is on repeat clients. You spend all your time chasing jobs, and you get just for one or two, and you don't look at it as trying to get this job. I'm not trying to get a job. I'm trying to get the client. Is what you need to focus on.
To build a trust.
Just getting clients, not jobs. So we've always had that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we do whatever we have to make that client happy, within reason, obviously.
Yeah.
So we've had that that mentality. So I worked here then for probably, we've been to 4 different buildings. We've kept moving from one building to the next, and just we ended up moving from Massillon to Canton. That was a marketing move because probably you guys don't understand the dynamic there, but
I was gonna say Danny actually grew up in Canton.
Well, he grew up in Massillon.
Massillon.
Yeah, he lives in North Canton now.
Yeah, so Danny, I guess, understands the best out of the 3 of us.
So I've been in Massillon many weekends.
Yeah.
So it's actually North Canton is it's like a booming, and then that's the main reason why they actually probably relocated to that. I know exactly where they're relocated.
Yeah. Well, the issue was they fight the Massillon Canton football game all year. Their businesses. We could not get a job as a Massillon firm. We get a job in Canton, and there was more work in Canton.
Well, that'd be like if us as a Columbus firm go up to Ann Arbor, and it's like, hey, can we do some work in Ann Arbor, Michigan? They'd be like, get out of here.
Yeah. Wow. That can't be the same thing, but it was a real thing. Once we moved to Canton, we lost all of our Massillon connections. So it was, but it was a good move for us. Now we're in North Canton, and we'll work in both places now. We're no longer the enemy.
Oh, that's good.
I remember only 2 offices from what I remember. I remember you were in the one building there, and then you guys decided to not renew the lease and then build basically your own office. And that's your current location you're in now, right?
No, actually we started in the basement of Oaks Construction's office. We were a captive shop for Oaks Construction. We did all their work when we first started out. Probably for the first 10 years, I probably didn't do more than 2 or 3 jobs that weren't for Oaks Construction.
Wow.
Right after I started, in fact, John Harris was actually an employee of Oaks Construction, and the AIA came down and said, well, that's a conflict of interest. We can't have architects working directly for contractors. It's a conflict of interest. It's like, you got the fox watching the hen house.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to form his own private firm, but he still did all their work. After we started to grow, we kind of outgrew the space. We built a building right next door to their office so that we could still walk prints back and forth. And so we were there for about 15 years. We moved over to Canton then. After that, we were there for 20 years, and we've been in the North Canton office now for going on 12 years now.
How many architects do you or personnel do you have at that office now?
Yeah, we have 28 employees. We have 2 administrative personnel, an accountant. We have a full-time construction manager. We do construction. Good. We have a separate construction management company. We have 5 interior designers. And that has been huge in terms of stepping up the quality of our design.
Awesome. On
a lot of projects. It has just been a huge, we keep them busy, especially like on the school projects and government projects. We're bidding out furniture.
Yep.
We're doing, bidding out things the interior designers would bid.
Yep.
And work on that's over and above what you typically get in a typical architectural package.
Yeah,
so it's been a huge bonus for us. And we have a construction management division. It's either 1 or 2 people. Right now we're down to 1. Mm-hmm. We use them also on the architectural side for developing very accurate budgets.
Yes, that's what that was actually my question. Yeah, that's probably what you guys using a cost estimate pretty heavily. So what are your portfolio? So mention you guys doing the government projects, going schools. I know some of the schools. Before I work for one of your competitors, so we are actually going after one of the Talmadge mid school, and you guys won with really nice concept that you guys, it was like active learning And so can you tell us a little bit more about portfolio of your company? What are you guys mostly concentrating on? What are your bread and butter for your office?
Half of our work is in the school market, the K-12 school market. That's probably half of our work. I think we've got 2 projects right now. We're working on one for Green schools and just finishing up North Canton schools. It's under construction now. We just missed out on a new school for Perry in the Stark County area there. So that's half of our firm. We do a lot of public work for the local, different municipalities in the area. Stark County, we do a lot of arts in Stark. We do a lot of Stark Parks. Stark Parks has been a continuous partner with us for years now. We've probably been doing work with them probably for the last 20 years. They just, one project after the other. Like I say, it's that developing that relationship, not getting that client, not that job. And they've just been, and the commissioners, Stark County commissioners, whenever we seem to get most of their work anymore these days. We are the largest firm in Stark County, so that helps.
When did you find that sweet spot where you started turning down business because you now have a reliable source of clientele that you're focusing on solely?
Are you turning down any?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think Bill, you told me at one point you guys were so busy, like you said, your clients were coming back to work and you wanted to take care of them, that you were, if someone came in with something new, you're like, well, you had to evaluate it because again, you wanted to make sure the clients that you had were properly supported, right?
Yeah, we've always found a way to accommodate past clients, and we have had to turn down new clients or send them. And sometimes you look at a project and you look at it. Okay, do they have the proper funding? Do they have?
Yes.
Do they really know what they're doing? Is this going to be a successful business, or is this? We've had some that we did a nursing home for a client that was just. We probably shouldn't have taken it. They actually finished the project, but they ran out of money and couldn't afford to buy furniture and never opened.
Wow. Jeez.
We were fortunate that we got paid before they ran out of money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we evaluate the clients. There are some clients out there that you don't want.
Yes.
It's like, I've heard Mr. Trump likes to, not make the final payment on his architects. And, they keep coming back to him because he has nice projects. But, there's certain clients that have histories that you don't want to work for.
Especially holding out that last payment because you don't have nothing against them. You cannot hold your drawings against them.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah. If everything's done and
exactly.
submitted and signed off on, what is there to hold them to the payment?
Yeah.
On smaller private projects, like on the schools, we have contracts and things like that. It would be hard for them to hold back a contract.
Yeah.
On private work is different. On all of the smaller work we do, we require a retainer. Usually about 10% is a retainer to get started. We make incremental monthly invoices. When they stop paying, then they have up to 30 days, and they stop paying, and we stop working.
Yeah.
When we are done with the project, on the smaller projects, these are like under $500,000 projects. We don't submit for a building permit until we get final payment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have similar policies in place.
That's clever.
So until you make that payment, we don't make an application for it. And we have to make the application. We have to sign. I don't know how. I know permitting is different in a lot of areas. I hate permitting in big cities. we are so fortunate with our building department in Stark County. I can take a set of drawings into our building department, and by the time I drive back to my office, I have a approved building permit.
Wow. Yeah. Here is like a minimum 30 days wait.
Yeah. We have clients constantly asking us, like, when is it going to be done? And it's like, the building department's the building department, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, they can actually do like a more like the faster pace that you have to have possibility to pay to get a little
expedited.
They actually call that like almost like outside of regular hours review.
After hour review.
Exactly.
You know, not too long ago, I could get some single family homes approved same day, but even that has gone to the wayside.
Oh yeah. It's like that's like a luxury that you have built there. That's for sure.
So hopefully that continues for sure. Knock on some wood.
Well, that plan examiner is or chief building official is retiring next year.
Oh
boy.
Coincide with my retirement.
Yeah.
Every other building department, it's usually typically a month, and then and it's another month after you get your comments back and respond. It's another month. The state's been the absolute worst.
Yes.
We submitted a project.
State is the worst because they just don't have manpower.
Yeah.
Or they're outsourcing it to other firms, and there's the communication lag is weeks and weeks and weeks.
Bill, I was almost hired by state. The guy told me like, okay, he's gonna take us. I don't know where we're gonna be able to like review your drawings. It's minimum 30 days, but by the way, if you're interested, you always can join us. I was like, thank you, no. So there's like one question I have for you. The area, what is the maximum, I will say, the radius that you guys cover in your company? Well, I mean, you're probably gonna you're covering Stark County. You're probably covering the Summit County,
Cleveland area.
Are you going in the Cleveland area too, doing the work?
We don't go into the Cleveland area itself, but we have gone into Cuyahoga.
Okay. Cuyahoga County.
We're doing work. We basically cover Northeast Ohio. We cover pretty much all Northeast Ohio, and we have done very remote projects. We just finished up a project for Timken and Crethrow. I may have slaughtered that in Mexico.
Wow, interesting. So you guys partnering with other companies?
Yeah, it is. We were a consultant for Timken's, architectural consultant for them on that project. And then I've got a project right now that's for a former client. We've done other work for down in Virginia for actually they're building a new bricks and mortar bank.
Wow.
Which is like unheard of anymore these days. We used to do those. We used to do half a dozen of those a year, and now we probably have. This is we do one every 5 years now.
What is the difference now? What are they like? So the banks are usually just like acquiring like already finished buildings, and is that like a tendency these days? Is that the reason why you don't build?
Electronic. Everything's electronic banking.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, they'll set up an ATM somewhere, and that's their new.
That's their flagship.
Everybody else is on. You do it on your phone. You do your banking on your phone or online.
I've been thinking about getting banking myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Paul. You know the old First Merit up there in Manchester is still for sale.
Oh, really? I didn't realize it shut down. Is for sale.
Yeah, was for sale. That probably 5-6 years ago, and they haven't found a buyer for it.
Wow.
No other banks want to win. Nobody wants bricks and mortar. No.
Yeah, actually, banks all online.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, Nick. I know Nick has a set up on online accounts and stuff like that. Like, I don't even think there's a brick and mortar, the banking that we use. Is there?
No.
Yeah.
Not for our primary bank.
Yeah. So that's understandable.
Yeah, it is understandable. Yeah. And I know exactly what bank you're talking. Sometimes I will actually drive down Muscle Road to go back to work. I was living in Canal Fulton, so when I was traveling from Canal Fulton to Akron, then sometimes I'll take the Massillon Road. So I know exactly what bank there's First American, there is a Chase. Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
So it's like a K-12 education that is pretty much. So how did you guys survive that I remember it was actually I was then working in a workforce, just graduated on 08, 09, and we were actually a firm I was working before was mostly mostly concentrated on healthcare, but also they have huge portfolio in education, mostly doing the work for Akron public schools. But I know when this economic turndown happened on 08, 09, it's almost all work related to the school just shut down. How did you guys survive that period of time? What tactics did you use? You mentioned one of them is just securing and building the trust with your existing client. But did you have to do any other magic in order to just surface up and then don't lay off your valuable people? Yeah. What adjustments did you guys make in that period of time?
We never missed a beat during that period.
Wow.
Between the schools and our private work, we never experienced a downturn. In fact, we were able to, and this is one of the hardest things you'll find with a firm, is finding good help. During that period, we were able to pick up some really talented people
to get laid off by other guys.
Yeah, go. And I mean, that is a huge issue in terms of finding good quality, talented help. And we have some really good quality, talented people in our firm now. We were very fortunate that, during that downturn, I think we hired probably 3 or 4 new people. They're still with us. In fact, one of them is a partner.
Wow. That's great. That's great to hear. That's it's almost like in a time of crisis, if you have a cash, you're a golden one. You can go on buying spree.
Yeah.
Same with real estate. When the market's down, you buy.
Yeah. That's good to know. Any difficulties acquiring
that way?
Any difficulties acquiring the good talents these days? Your thoughts on Generation Z and their adjustment to the working force?
What we typically do now, we always go to we go around to the different colleges when they have their career days,
mm-hmm.
and we interview people, and we show them our side. Our building helps sell our firm when people see the building and
it's a beautiful building.
That we're working on.
It's a beautiful building,
and so that really helps sell our firm. And just the environment that we have here from working is just, I just loved coming into work every day.
Could you describe that environment? Like, what amenities? What's the attitude? Like, why? What does that set you apart from other firms?
We're very open. We have basically we have 3 private offices. One is for the one senior partner who does, the human resources and all that, and he needs that. We have a private office for the accounting person, so we can keep all that information, locked up. And we have a private office for the construction manager, simply because he's messier than most. He's got a lot of paper.
Put him in the corner and let him do his thing.
He's dealing with the real world of calculating the prices and costs and estimates.
Yeah, but everybody else is out in the main studio. We all have the same size desk, whether you are a partner or whether you are an entry-level CAD person that just graduated, or you're still in, we've had high school co-ops that have come through. Not so much anymore because they don't know the CAD programs.
Yeah.
But back in the day when we were hand drafting, we would have co-ops from Jackson High School every year.
Wow.
And they would run prints and sharpen pencils and do all kinds of things like that, and do some minor drafting. But now with the computers, you have to be fairly well versed in how to operate that system, because all we need is somebody that's brand new at it and doesn't know what they're doing, and they can erase a whole job and lose it.
Oh yeah.
You have to have somebody who's reasonably competent at that point. So, but we do typically pick up people around the third or fourth year in college, try to bring them in and
earlier. Yeah.
We look at that as when we go to the career days that, we're going, this is our draft
Mm-hmm.
and we're looking for a number one draft pick.
I see. I see what you're saying.
That's how we approach it, whether we're talking to interiors people or we're talking to the architectural people. We're looking for a number one draft pick every year, and we'll typically find ways to bring them in if we can. If there's a need, right now we've only got one seat left in the whole building, so I don't know if we're going to get too many more.
Mm-hmm.
We just without adding on, and I don't know that we're going to add on a whole lot right now, just with all the uncertainty with the economy and everything. It's just going to be difficult to bite that bullet.
Sure. Do you have your entire staff coming in 5 days a week?
That was my question.
Normal business hours, or do you have any flexibility there? Like what do you offer them?
There is flexibility. During COVID, we were all working from home. For a while, I was doing healthcare with my wife, and I was working from home while taking care of her for 6 months. We have a guy that has a son who he was in an auto accident, and he's has severe brain trauma, and they have to be there all the time. So he works from home 3 or 4 days a week, and then he'll come into the office for a half a day on some days when someone else can relieve him then. But we have in the past, we have people that work from home. People just about everybody has a laptop they can take home.
Mm-hmm.
Besides their regular box computer here at the office. So we're fairly flexible. If it's something that you have a need, they're flexible. They'll let you work from home.
What are the challenges that you kind of foreseeing now after being in a profession for over 40 years? What are you actually seeing are the biggest challenges that we as little younger architects is probably gonna see it and experience? What you can foreseeing as the new wave of opportunity and challenges facing that architects will face in the future, in your opinion?
Everything changes. Well, I can't guess what's going to happen tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I was reading an article about 6 months ago about a project in Amsterdam where they did a what is it, it escapes me now here, the plotters, the 3D plotters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They built a steel bridge that spanned 30 foot across the canal on a 3D plotter and erected it, and it's in use now.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that's really, if that ever takes off, I mean, when I started, we were, pencils, and then we graduated to pen and ink. And then we went to systems drafting, where it was basically we were using 2 and 3 sheets. You would do overlay drafting and use flatbed printers and all that good stuff. You guys don't remember any of that, I'm sure.
I can't imagine.
Although when I first started, I did have one of the machines that you have the ammonia to do the blueprints and all that. So we didn't use it much, but that office still had it.
It was a history lesson, not a practical daily.
We didn't use it every day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You guys are so lucky.
Yeah.
But then we started on computers probably
probably 90s.
85.
Oh, 85.
Oh, wow. That's
early.
We started our first computer program was Eris.
Oh, jeez Christ, I know that software. Oh my God, that thing is.
It was the most amazing program. It was so much better than AutoCAD. It's almost on the level of ArchiCAD and Revit. And that was back then. The only problem was the computers weren't fast enough
didn't have processing power.
It was like running, and it was like everything was like, okay, I drew something, and now it's going to take 10 seconds for it to draw that line. and it was just super slow. Just because, I mean, we had the fastest computers that were reasonable to buy at that point, and it was just slow. And the other problem was it didn't convert to AutoCAD, and all of our engineers were starting to use AutoCAD at that time, and so we couldn't convert any our plans or anything and send them to them in AutoCAD. So that was a real drawback. So we switched, and we were on AutoCAD probably for about 5 or 6 years. And then we jumped into ArcCAD, and that was the best move we ever made. I mean, from what I've heard from people that have come from other firms that were using Revit, they said this just beats it hands down.
Wow.
It does.
Yeah, because I started with the ArcCAD actually originally before I switching to Revit. So you guys in the ArcCAD. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, we do I mean, we have some people here that are really good at CAD. That when we were using Twin Motion and things like that, we're doing video walkthroughs now of 3D models. We're sending the CAD drawings to the engineers, and they're doing all their steel and duct work, and everything's going in 3D, so everything fits. So I mean, it just the change is coming in the future. I have no idea what that's going to be with AI. Who knows?
Who knows?
And so, in terms of telling you what to expect, I have no idea.
Just be ready.
It's just it's got to be flexible, and you got to be ready for change. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
that's great.
That makes sense. So Bill, again, I almost called you Mr. Griffith. It's an architecture inspired podcast, but we talk about the way we live, work, and invest. I know at one point in time you had an investment property, correct?
Yeah.
Do you want to mention? I think at the end of the day, you ended up selling it, made out okay, but you had it for quite a while, right? Do you want to mention that a little bit? Tell a little bit of the backstory there. What made you decide to buy a property for renting out?
Well, at the time, I was just a single guy, and I bought a fixer-upper, and I moved in, and I'd fix one apartment and rent the other one out while I was working on it. Then I moved into the other one, and then, it just kind of worked out that I was able to, when I was young, it was good experience for me learning how to do, doing construction projects. In fact, I'm doing one right now. I'm downsizing, and I bought a house in Canton, and I tore it down to the studs, and I just finished hanging 60 sheets of drywall.
Fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to do that professionally 20 years ago. I've drywall.
Yeah, I did that. That's what I did I'm working my way through college. I worked for a drywall contractor.
That's what I did. That's fun.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you learn a lot. That's really important. I think when you're talking to young people and you're looking at them, encourage them instead of coming out of school in the summer and working in an architect's office, go out and work in the field. Get some field experience. That is huge.
You might end up staying in the field for a decade or two, like I did, and then find your way back to the office eventually.
It is good to have that knowledge, and so that's a good point. Good swag to another topic is you guys for these younger architects that you hire out of the college, you trying to guys put them in the field more often instead of just keeping them at the desk.
Yes, we try to give them in fact with in order for them to get through the internship requirements, excuse me, and to get their licensing, they have to have so many hours of different types of experience in terms of programming, in terms of going to job sites, and just a whole variety of things. They can't be just CAD monkeys sitting there doing bathroom details.
Yep.
The old terms are all those memories are coming back now.
Yep.
So, but I would say one of the biggest challenges we see, in the future coming up is the lack of construction, quality construction people in the field.
Oh yeah.
I talked to a contractor the other day, and he said, we will hire anybody as long as they have a vehicle to show up to the job. They can pass a drug test.
Yep.
And they don't even have to speak English.
Wow.
And they get paid pretty well for certain trades.
Yeah.
And he said, we will train them. If they've never worked in the field, we will train them.
Yeah.
It's just that bad. They cannot find, nobody wants to work in the field. Everybody wants to go to college.
Yep.
Nobody wants to do manual labor.
Nobody wants to be on a heat. Nobody wants to be on a cold outside. That's how things working today.
I was just on site one of my projects 2 days ago or yesterday, and it's 15 degrees, no heat. The couple of guys are working, framing out a cabin.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal, and that's why people don't want to do it. And it's as Bill mentioned it, especially if you have like a specialized, I'm working mostly in a healthcare, and sometimes we will actually do very complicated systems in a healthcare, and they will just hire the people that they can find. They never put together linear accelerator or MRI or anything like that. So having them tied up all these things, you probably have to go like with them and handheld them all the time.
Yeah. I know we did a Starbucks roastery when I was in Chicago, and they had a curved escalator. And there was a company in Germany that produced the escalator. They had to send their people to install it.
Oh, yeah.
Because literally no one else in the entire... Yeah, so
It's
especially when you mentioned the specialized thing, it's again, labor and having people to install it and actually do it. Especially the specialized items.
Sure.
It's like they're sending people from somewhere in the world to come over and do it. So they send them to Chicago to install this escalator, Yeah. But yeah, that's a fair point.
It's a fair point. That's
you got my wheels turning now, Paul. I'm going to create something that only we can install.
Yeah.
So what is the future? What is the future bringing to you, Bill? So
you're saying you're retiring next year. How does passing the torch look like, and what are you planning to do since you've been doing architecture your whole life, and what's the transition look like?
Oh, for me personally,
is this where the disc golf story starts to pick up?
Yeah, we could go into that. I have started I am currently just working part-time.
Oh, okay.
So I am just working 20 hours a week. A lot of that's because we're now taking care of my parents. My father just passed earlier in the month, but my mother's still at home, 95 years old, living at home, and my brothers and sisters and I are caring for them, 24/7. So I've taken some time off to be able to do that, and so I'm just working part-time. I try to get in 20 hours as long as I get my work done. That's the important part. I've got one major client right now that we're doing a project for. They just put in if you count the equipment they put in, it was a $45 million addition that they put in just to cook bacon for Wendy's.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very expensive equipment. Yep.
Wendy's decided that if they could have somebody pre-cook their bacon, they could save one person in every restaurant across the country. So imagine how many people that is. So they can buy their bacon pre-cooked. They save all that, and they're going through, health problems too. They can't get help, So looking for ways to eliminate help.
Automation.
And,
self-checkouts and all that, self-automated systems. And like you said, if it's pre-cooked, it shows up ready to go. Yeah.
I got to stop eating out.
No bacon.
I'm going to try to come out with a Baconator Frosty here.
Baconator Frosty.
So
part-time.
I typically, my projects are typically my past clients at this point. I'm not taking on any new clients. I'm just working with the old clients that I've had and making sure that they're taken care of, and bringing some new people in to work with me on those projects so that there's some transition once I leave, that they'll have somebody there that they're familiar with, that, like I say, it's developing that client relationship. And now I'm trying to foster that with, some of the new people with that. So that's what I'm doing. I've started a private or a separate firm. It's just myself, that I'm doing some minor house additions, basically for friends. House project. I did do one, house, new project a while back, but that was for somebody that a friend of a friend that they really wanted me to do, and I didn't care for that, but I'll do that. And then the other part of it is, like Paul mentioned, I've been designing disc golf courses.
That is so cool.
I've got 25 disc golf courses now on my resume.
Wow, that is amazing.
What was the first? Was Portage Lakes the first disc golf course that you did, or that one was pretty far down the line, wasn't it?
It was down the line. The first one I did was in Brewster, Ohio. It was a little 9-hole course in Brewster, Ohio. Portage Lakes was probably about number 15. So.
Well, we'll have to start advertising that we do disc golf courses, and you
pass your name along,
and you can consult on the project and as on ArcFluence.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
So, but you can apply a lot of what I know in terms of planning and all that for a building to a disc golf course. There's an awful lot of carryover there, so that was something that's helped me a lot.
That's great. That's interesting.
But that's what I'm doing now.
So for a disc golf, you don't have to go through the permitting process, do you?
Why not?
No.
Because it's not a building. It's not like
the building.
Yeah, okay.
There's no life safety anything. It's pretty much just like terrain,
but you still have to map and plan, and you're dealing with the overall layout.
What about paths? If you're, I guess you're walking.
You're just outside, like in a park.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, it can be challenging. There are different types of courses.
Oh, I believe.
There
are trees. There are shrubs.
And there are safety issues. There are significant safety issues that you have to be aware of. I played on a course out in Kansas City that had a basket that was 3 foot from a rock ledge, and it dropped 20 foot off the edge of the rock ledge.
Oh yeah, that's not safe at all.
I mean, that was just. And if it rained one day and the rock was slick, and I can't believe they had that in there.
Wow.
But there are people that have, there was a lady that got hit by a disc. She was sitting on a park bench. It was a poorly designed course. And this park bench was right by the fairway. She got hit in the head and went blind.
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness.
No, that's you're right. There's like
she sued. She sued the city. She sued the designer. She sued everybody involved and got like $5 million.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Basically, they ended up pulling the course out, and I think the designer ended up going bankrupt.
Wow.
Personally, because they sued him personally. He had no insurance.
Wow.
That's why I started a separate firm that I have $1 million professional liability insurance for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
so it's not
it's not that simple. Yeah.
A bunch of
No, that's very good point. I didn't even think about it. Now I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, number one key is safety. Although we're creators, we love things to be beautiful, but we have to keep safety function in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to meet your codes and all that.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that was really interesting conversation. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I had not heard some of those stories before. So I remember the one about Portage Lakes. There was like an eagle or osprey or something, some bird. Wasn't there concern about
an osprey?
Yeah, about the nature and the disc flying, and like the bird might attack the disc or something like that, or get hit by one of them.
if hello?
Yeah, you're there. Go ahead.
Oh, so there. Okay. Yeah. With that situation, if it had been an eagle, we would have had to eliminate all the holes within I forget what it was, a quarter-mile radius of that bird, where his nesting spot was. If that was an eagle, the osprey, they don't care about the ospreys. But the eagles, that would have been an issue. They would have had to move the course.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the eagle's endangered, but the osprey's not, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Bill, this has been so much fun. I do have one final question for you. I've been self-employed personally for years and years and years, but recently I've been doing a lot of partnerships. Nino, Paul, and I started ArcFluence, almost a year and a half ago. And what would be some advice for a young firm that you'd give and offer to stay the course, stay together, keep growing, and scale?
I know you guys are focused on the residential market.
We're about 25-75, 25 commercial and growing.
Yeah. But yeah, primarily residential.
I would push that. We totally stay away from the residential market. That's why when I started my business, I just do some small residential stuff. I've done some fun projects. I've won a couple design awards for residential projects, but I probably haven't done more than a dozen residential projects in 49 years.
We did that this month.
Yeah.
But I have done literally thousands of commercial projects. And that's where you want to be, because it's so difficult working with a homeowner. They're typically less knowledgeable about construction and the process, and they have different expectations, and it's also personal. And the other thing we found out is that we're not marriage counselors.
Yeah.
We have had projects that have one of them went into divorce. The other one they were pretty close. I don't know how it ever ended up, but we try to stay away from the residential market for some of those reasons. And you can't really charge what your time is really worth.
Yeah.
A lot of times on a residential project. With the commercial projects, you're typically dealing with more educated clients. They understand a little more about construction and the process. In fact, I wrote a book I haven't published yet. Still procrastinating on getting it out, about it's basically construction for small commercial projects 101.
Nice.
And it's just talking to clients about how the process works, so they can kind of read about, okay, here's how you start. So many times you don't go out and hire, you don't contact the architect first. You go out and hire a contractor. Now he's convinced them they have to do design build. And that's because that's where they make the absolute most money.
That's where they make the money.
Yeah.
Because they're all yep.
So on a commercial side, you need to be able to find a way to get to them before they get to the contractor.
Yeah.
Another way for you to break into that commercial market, start working with contractors.
Yep.
They get the leads.
They get leads
most of the time before you do. And if you get a good reputation and you are, we have 3 or 4 contractors that's basically my bread and butter. Is I work with these contractors, and they introduce us to their clients, and then that's how we get in with new clients and things, is through the contractors. But they typically, for some reason, people think they have to contact the contractor first, and they don't think about going to an architect.
And so that's very common thing. Yep.
Some contractors and get involved with them, and maybe do some design build with them. It's not. That's how this firm started, was through Oaks Constructions, and design build. And that's not a bad way to start.
So planning to publish this book pretty soon? Bill, are you planning to publish this book pretty soon?
I don't know. Now that I'm going to retire, I don't know. It might just end up being something that we put in the office library and pass out to clients. I've looked into publishing it. It's not like it's going to make the Times bestseller list.
Well, it's true, but it can be very helpful.
Be a good book.
Yeah, I was going to say if you publish it, we'll definitely promote it, and I want a signed copy from you myself personally. I was going to say, come on, Mr. Griffith, I grew up with you. So.
I think we have to push you towards that direction. Yeah. We need that knowledge to be put on a paper, so we can learn something from this 40 and plus years of the experience.
Share it with the world. There's so much knowledge that gets lost from generation to generation, and only the people bold enough to tell the story gets to pass on that information. So I would encourage you to, for sure.
Yeah. So I've just got to find somebody to publish it for me. That's the next step. So it's finding a publisher's there. So I got, but it's not high on the priority list right now. I've got quite a few irons in the fire right now.
Okay.
Well, yeah. With that said, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate taking a little bit of time, for talking with us today.
Okay, I appreciate the opportunity here.
This has been the ArcFluence Podcast. As always, you can get more information and additional content on arcfluence.com. Please subscribe on the platform of your choice and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you.